Good morning, Metro Detroit. It's Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. How are you this morning? Time now is 6 o'clock in the morning. If you've got to be there by 7 o'clock, you've got 1 hour to get there. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313 778 7600. 313 778 7600. Y'all know that I really don't like talking about Donald Trump all of the time, but today he deserves to be talked about. Yesterday, a jury actually decided that they were not going to be afraid of what his followers were going to do. The jury actually decided in less than 3 hours of deliberation after a very long, drawn out trial for which Donald Trump didn't even bother to show up. He decided that he was just going to look. I've never, ever seen anybody that said, listen, I don't even got to go. Y'all just go over there, you argue about it, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And what happened is a young lady by the name of E. Jean Carroll testified that several years ago, many years ago actually, at a department store, she was assaulted by and sexually, for lack of a better phrase, that her position is that Donald Trump not only touched her and grabbed her in a sexual manner, but that he also raped her. That the rape allegation part, the jury didn't, at least I'm not going to say that they didn't believe it, but there was not enough evidence for them to find that he actually raped her. But apparently there was enough evidence for them to find that he grabbed her, that he touched her inappropriately and that it was in a sexual manner. And there were a bunch of other counts that he actually was found responsible for. And the jury decided to tell him that he's going to have to pay $5 million. This for the case that he decided he wasn't even going to show up for. This for the case that the only testimony on behalf of the man who was accused of such heinous behavior had to come from a deposition, a videotaped deposition that he sat for. And when I saw the media reports reflecting what he said during the deposition, my mouth dropped open. I don't know about yours, but I couldn't believe. I mean, we've all had an opportunity to hear Donald Trump's mouth run before. We've heard how his personality is, that he just can't wind up being reined in. We sat there and watched many, many, many press conferences where he made everything all about himself and didn't just become crass, but become crass and vulgar. But when you watch the actual videotape deposition, this man's position on I didn't rape her, I didn't assault her. He then decided, instead of just shutting up by answering the questions, and that you got to know, the one thing that all lawyers tell their clients before you wind up going into deposition is don't overtalk. You never, ever, ever want to just keep talking, because the truth of the matter is that's how things go wrong. Is people wind up trying to explain. They always want to wind up adding some extra little tidbit in. And that's usually where you wind up losing the case, is when your client is the one that's running their mouth too much. When people stick to the script and they only say the stuff that they're supposed to say, what you've prepped them to say, you usually get out of there unharmed. Donald Trump is not the kind of person that's ever going to stick to the script and only say the things that he's supposed to say. And he decided to say something that I mean, it made my mouth drop open when he said, no, I wouldn't have done it. She's not my type. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that if she was your type, you would have raped her? Does that mean that if she was your type, you don't mind walking up and grabbing her and touching her inappropriately? Apparently, when he said it, he wasn't thinking about that Access Hollywood tape where he was caught on tape talking to Billy Bush and saying that it's perfectly all right because when you're a star, you can do it. You can walk up and you can grab women in any of their private body parts. You can do whatever you want to do with it. And when he was asked about the Access Hollywood tape, if what he was testifying to in the deposition was the same sort of line of thinking that he used on that Access Hollywood tape, he said, yeah, he doubled down. He said, you can do it when you're a star. You can just walk up and grab. Of course, he sees himself as a star. He always has. The media even sees him that way. That's why they give him all of the press attention that he gets. But he believes that it's perfectly all right for you to do whatever you want to do, touch anybody any way you want to, make people follow you into doing all sorts of crazy things because he believes that he's found that level of success. And after all, it got the man elected president. It got him elected president, and it even got him to the point where his followers on January 6th of 2021 decided Donald Trump told us that we needed to run over here and destroy this building and stop the transfer of power. And his followers showed up by the tens of thousands in order to do it. You've seen reports of plenty of women who, I think the last number that I saw in any one of the reports was at least not just dozens, but dozens and dozens of women who have actually accused him of sexually molesting them and touching them and grabbing them. And nobody's ever held him responsible before. This was the first time. So you will hear all day on all of the news outlets saying that this is a historic verdict, and it's historic. It's historic. Men are found guilty or responsible of sexually molesting or touching women inappropriately every day in a court somewhere in America. There's nothing historic about that. What's made this historic is that every time he's been accused of something, especially since he ran for president, everybody always gets the shakes. They always get scared. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Can we do it? His followers are going to be upset. This is not what we want to do. We don't want to wade into the water. Well, Jean Carroll and her attorneys decided to wade into the water. They decided to hold his feet to the fire. And he had, even if you watched the testimony at the deposition, he had one of those, if it don't fit the glove, if the glove doesn't fit, you must quit kind of moments. Because when he was shown a picture of her, the woman that he said, she's not my type, and he then launched into attacking the attorney for the plaintiff and saying, you're ugly and you're not my type also, he then picked out a picture of his wife. No, he picked out a picture of E. Jean Carroll. When they showed him the picture and said, is she your type? He said, well, the woman in the picture is my wife. That's Marla, who was his first wife. He said, that's Marla, as if Marla, of course, is his type. But the picture wasn't Marla. The picture was actually the plaintiff in this case, E. Jean Carroll. The man said, she's not my type. He hinted around that she's ugly. He attacked the plaintiff's attorney and said, you're not my type either. You're just some sort of political operative. And he wound up picking a picture of the plaintiff herself, who he says was not his type, and said, oh, that's Marla. That's my wife. It wasn't Marla. It was E. Jean Carroll. He told on himself, as he has done on plenty of occasions, and nobody's ever held him responsible for it. This time, jury said, and it didn't take long for the jury to decide it, yeah, we believe her. We don't believe Donald Trump, and we think he needs to pay. That needs to happen more often in this country. There needs to be more people, more not just jurors, but voters and prosecutors across this country all need to stand up to him and say, we don't believe you. You're a liar. Everything that you touch turns not to gold, but goes in the entire other direction. And it's time for you to get off of the stage and get out of the scene and go away. There are plenty of people that are going to spend the rest of the day complaining, saying, oh, no, this was all just about politics because he's running for president again, and this is all a political hit job. No. But at the same time, he doesn't need to be running for president. He needs to get off of the stage. His 15 minutes of fame should be up. He needs to go away. And we need to try and take some sort of steps to retake our country from those people who want to just keep following them. The question that I've got for you today is, do you care? Do you care that he was found responsible in order to pay $5 million yesterday And then, do you think that those people who follow him as if if they are in a cult and he is their leader and they drink the Kool-Aid every day, you think that his followers are going to care and that this is at all going to affect the shine on Donald Trump? 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Timothy. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. How you doing today? Sounds like you're getting back into politics. I hope you cover the Biden story today, tomorrow, like you're covering the Trump story. This is a big doozy coming out today. But regarding Trump, how many times have we talked on this station of people being wrongfully accused and they've been in jail for 10, 15, 20 years? I mean, the court, it happened in New York. I mean,
why does that matter to you that it was New York? Tell us, because that's the line that his attorney was complaining about yesterday. What difference does it make to you that it was New York? Would you have rather that it had been in Iowa or Kansas?
Yeah, let's see. Let's try that. See what happens. But Kerry, here's what I'll tell every man out there that has possibly done this in the past. You better go get a good lawyer, because every woman in your past that you've done something like this to is coming for your money. I mean, this is crazy. It's, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. I don't believe it. It's like the Kavanaugh.
Tim, I've got a question. Hold on. If in fact what you just said is every man out there that's done something like this before. So are you saying that men should be allowed to go and assault a woman sexually and not be held responsible for it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Kerry.
Tim, if in fact there are men out there who have done something similar, and if they walked up and they grabbed a woman, or if they forced her, if they decided I'm going to touch her on her breast or in her private area and things like that, you don't think play which tape?
Play that tape of Trump in that box. What he says.
He said you can grab. Well, no, because we'd have to have an edited version.
They let you. They'll let you, and that's consenting.
And this is what he's saying. He's saying it's perfectly all right for you to walk up and assault somebody, and they don't really care.
You're a billionaire, Kerry. You don't think women fall on their knees at billionaires? That's what he's saying. This woman is not. She was on Anderson Cooper, said rape was sexy. Everybody fantasizes about it. Play that tape. This woman is nuts, man.
So now that the jury has found that they believe her and that he's been ordered to pay $5 billion, are you seriously telling me you don't care? You're still going to back him no matter what happens?
Gary, unless you show me the ad, I'm voting for
we could show you the video of him actually doing it. You wouldn't care. We got to go to break. 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. When we come back, we'll start to get to some more of your callers. We'll be right back.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Make your summer getaway to a new bed. Shop Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale. Save up to 50% on top brands, with queens starting at just $179.99. Plus, save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets.
Join the Detroit Association of Black Organizations for the Community Empowerment Speaker Series, featuring former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, as she talks about what we can do to combat racial and economic injustice. The event takes place on Wednesday, May 17th at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center. located at 9928 Grand River near Livernois. No reservation is needed, safe and secure parking available. For more information, please visit www.davodetroitinc.com.
My 38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal on TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My 38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offer is for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact Devin C. for more information at 248-357-4566 or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads. Have you thought about advertising your business on our 910 a.m. Superstation? Our audience is bigger than ever, and your investment will be lower than ever. Find out how you can grow your business. Give us a call during business hours and ask for Henry, 248-357-4566. We will tell your story, and more folks than ever before will come to your door. 248-357-4566. Ask for Henry. The super audience at our 910 Superstation wants to hear about you. Call now.
Did you know most vitamin supplements don't even come from food? Even the products with colorful fruits and vegetables adorning the labels are seldom derived from produce. Typically, supplements are synthetic, made in a laboratory. Modern science may synthetically imitate these chemicals, but your body isn't fooled. It knows the difference, and it craves quality materials to build, repair, and fight illness. You need to consume fruits and vegetables daily in a variety of colors, as well as whole grains and other fresh food. That's why I formulated Balance of Nature. I wanted to be able to give my patients a natural alternative to the cheap, unnatural chemistry by giving them real fruits and vegetables. In fact, the only ingredients inside of Balance of Nature are whole fruits and vegetables. Don't settle for imitation nutrition. Reach for the good stuff, the real stuff.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code RADIO5.
The all-new 910 Superstation is your number one source for urban talk radio. If you're looking for the best in radio programming, look no further. You can now listen in on a multitude of audio platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Listen Notes, and coming soon to Amazon Music, Goodpods, and Overcast. 910 AM Superstation, the largest, strongest, 50,000-watt urban radio station in town.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. It's Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600. It's 313-778-7600. Now that a jury has finally said, Donald Trump, enough of the nonsense, we believe the woman. We don't believe you, and you've got to pay her $5 million. Do you honestly believe that any of those folks, many of you are saying that, they are cult-like, but any of his followers, whether you want to call them cult-like or not, do you think that they care that this is at all going to be a wake-up call and it's going to wind up shaking them off? And here's the second question. Do you think that now that a young woman has come forward many years after it happened, with good and well that we've heard countless number of experts say over and over again that there's a reason why women suppress it when they wind up being assaulted and raped, and they push it to them, and you don't hear about it for 20, 30, 40 years later. The same thing with Bill Cosby's folks. The same thing with, I can't remember his name now, the Harvey Weinstein. All of the folks that they assaulted, it happened years ago. They did. These are not cases based on what happened 6 months ago or a year ago. They're all cases based on what happened years ago. Do you think that more women will now understand it's perfectly all right for you to come forward 10, 20, 30 years later and tell what happened? Tell me what you think. 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Carl. Good morning, Carl. How are you?
Yes, fine. Thank you. Listen, like you say, Harry Weinstein, Cosby, the Catholic Church, like people talking about what happened to us during slavery. It doesn't matter how many years ago that it happened. She finally had her day in court. And for these Republicans to just come gather around him like nothing happened. This man been married around about 4-5 times. He's suspect at that. You see what I'm saying? So for us, I want him him to be president again. What? I ain't gonna vote for him. Why not?
You want him to be president again? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Because I want this point here made. He's going to exonerate all those people that ran up there on January the 6th, the Proud Boys, everybody. Then what? What would the nation do then?
Listen, if this country votes for that man again,
I vote for him. I never voted for him. I never liked him. I knew him way back in the 80s. I never liked him.
But do you think that his followers, folks that are like Tim, who are going to follow him blindly no matter what happened, do you think that one jury verdict of finding him responsible and saying he's got to pay $5 million, do you think that that's going to actually give them a reason to have pause, to reflect, to say maybe this guy is not as good as we think he is? Or do you think they're going to go ahead unaffected and continue to follow him every single day?
They know these people didn't know he's trouble. They like him. They are exactly like him. There's millions of people like Donald Trump without the money. They like that kind of his attitude. His demeanor. That's him. But let him be president again. I want him to exonerate. Then let America see what our country is about.
I think that we've got a better way to try and wake up folks in this country other than making that man president and giving him that power again. Thanks a lot, Carl. 313-778-7600. Let's talk to James. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Terry. I just tuned in, but I understand what you're talking about. Donald Trump and cases that happened against him years ago. Justice will prevail, and that's about all I can say on that issue. Is justice will prevail. Sometimes it takes a little while, sometimes it takes a long time, but justice will prevail.
Well, it clearly took a long time here, and this is one individual case where justice seems to, he hasn't wrote the check yet, and I'm sure that he'll go down fighting, hollering, and screaming. He's got to, I don't think that he's going to voluntarily write a check, but at least she's had her day in court. She had an opportunity to tell her story. They tried to rip her apart. They tried to call her a liar and things like that. And she stood there and the jury believed her. So in that way, I agree with you that justice is had it today. But my question is more of a political one. Will this at least help rid our country of the scourge of Donald Trump? Do we still have to worry about people who are going to follow him as if he is a leader of a cult, no matter how horrible he is, no matter what he does? Should he still wind up affecting our politics? Or can we finally get back to a point where people talk about issues instead of just getting up every morning and finding a way to attack people because they don't believe the way that other folks believe? That's all.
Well, it kind of reminds me of after the Civil War. After the Civil War ended, the Northerners had whooped the South, and the Southern white man, the Northern white man, had whooped the Southern white man, and the Southern white man had a lot of rage in his heart towards the Northern white man. And the Northern white man wanted to know how he could get rid of that rage. In order to continue on, he had to change that rage that the Southern white man had in his heart for him. So what he did was he took the African Americans, the Northern, that had come to the North from the South, took the former slaves and sent them back down there and made them the boss over their former slave master. And that, in turn, that move right there, that political move right there turn all of that rage right back on African Americans.
Look.
And for another 100 years, there's Ku Klux Klan hanging, Jim Crow laws being passed against African Americans and so forth. So this is what Donald Trump did. He just opened the wound up again of all of those people that think like that.
I think those people think like that anyway, and I think that it's our job to just stand up to them every single solitary day. Thanks for calling this morning. 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Jerry. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
And good morning to you, Mr. Jackson, and thank you for taking my call, sir. Mr. Jackson, in general, let's forget about Donald Trump. let's see. I address my question this way. Miss Carroll, the one she accused former president. I imagine if I put the picture in a different way, it depends on who is the man and who is the woman when this crime will happen. Imagine, Mr. Jackson, if that was not Donald Trump, was a guy who do landscape in a backyard of Miss Carroll. Do you think Miss Carroll should file a lawsuit and call a lawyer against that guy who raped her and he was a landscape? So my thing is, Mr. Jackson, it depends on a sexual violation between man and woman. Who is the man and who is the woman?
So I want to put the same question to you, Jerry. If it wasn't Donald Trump, if it was somebody who's a landscaper, do you think that it would be that she would have hesitated to report being raped and assaulted by him? Do you think that it would have taken?
She will not report it at all, Mr. Jackson.
Why? Why do you think
she
that?
did it for publicity? Because the guy, he was a former president of the United States, and she want to be on a spotlight.
Jerry, hold on, for real?
She want to sell her book. You know, I believe she have a book, right?
I think so, but wait a minute. So you're saying, honestly, Jerry, you're saying I don't believe the woman is what you're saying. You're saying that she actually. So let me ask this question. I know that this is going to take back. So each of the other times that you've heard a young lady come forward years later, 10, 20 years later, and tell her story for the very first time, and you find out that she's testifying that, such as in the case of the young man that was that's now on the Supreme Court, which the lady comes forward and says, yeah, he raped me at a party 30, 40 years ago. We were all drunk and he took advantage of me, and I didn't say anything then, but I want to say it now. Now that it's out in the open, I've got to see his face every day. I'm ready to tell my story. You think that the woman shouldn't be believed because she didn't tell the story back when it happened?
I will answer you, Mr. Jackson. I don't say I don't believe the woman. The woman probably, she's right 100%. But my biggest question I gonna raise, Mr. Jackson, why you have to wait 20 or 30 or 40 years? You see, this is the problem with a woman nowadays. Why they have to wait?
That's because what happened to them was traumatic, and they are still, even 10, 20, 30 years later, afraid and shaken and afraid to have to relive something that happened so many years ago. No woman wants to go, even for money, wants to walk into the courtroom, get in the stand, and have herself attacked while as a witness over and over and over again. She's not doing that for fame. She's not doing that for money.
Interrupt you for 1 second. For you as a counsel, as a lawyer, you know the law better than me. If there's a limitation time about the crime, when the crime passed 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 years, do you think that case will be vanished, dismissed?
I think that I like the fact that there are statutes of limitations on when crimes, and there's a reason that we have statutes of limitations, but that's a whole nother show. I got to go to break. Thanks for calling this morning, Jerry. Have a great morning. 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. Ms. Leona, you're up next. As soon as we come back, it's a very quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Southfield Councilman Michael Mandy. For the entire month of May, we will remember our African American brothers and sisters who lost their lives in the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Over a century ago, from May 31st to June 1st, a Black Holocaust happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood District, also known as Black Wall Street. This is considered one of the deadliest massacres in American history. This moment in time is brought to you by Southfield Councilman Michael Mandelbaum.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential and explains every step of the invention process. We create professional materials representing your idea and submit it to companies who are looking for new ideas. We have more than 9,000 companies who've agreed to review ideas in confidence. If a company shows interest in manufacturing your invention, we can negotiate on your behalf. We have helped over 10,000 clients receive patents. We also offer services including 3D modeling and animation demonstrating your idea, prototyping services, and we use state-of-the-art technology to show InventHelp client ideas to additional companies. Join the thousands of people just like you who chose InventHelp to pursue their idea. We are experienced. We are working for you. We are InventHelp.
Call us for free information at 1-800-460-1663. That's 1-800-460-1663. Again, 1-800-460-1663.
910 AM Superstation has the greatest advertising deal ever with our Godfather package. 100 spots for $600 with a must-air within 30-day policy, and we will even produce the spots free. That's right, free. Call Devin C. now at 248-357-4566. That's 248-357-4566. Or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I had no energy for months and months and months. I had no energy, and I'm a very active person. And my husband was noticing that I was tired all the time, and I was slow at everything that I was doing. And I kept listening to the commercials. And, you know, you don't know if something's going to help you or not. But I decided this was something I was going to do. And lo and behold, in about 4 days to taking them, I was repotting plants. I was doing other things. My husband said to me, "You seem to have more energy." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And I'm telling you, nothing has ever made such a difference. So anyway, I'm very happy.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code RADIO5.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. Listen to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Just to make sure that I don't want to dismiss Jerry's question as to whether or not I believe that there should be statutes of limitations and whether or not people should be allowed to testify about crimes many, many years later. There are certain offenses, capital offenses, rape, murder, kidnapping, and things like that there is no statute of limitations on. If the prosecutor is able to find witnesses and come forward 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, they do it. And you see that happens all of the time. That's why they still have cold case squads working old cases. And because they believe that if you committed that kind of a crime, eventually we're going to find you and we're going to wind up prosecuting you. Maybe not in the case of Carolyn Dunham and the crap that she did that led to the death of Emmett Till. But in other cases, they will come back and bring charges 20, 30, 40 years later. And there is no statute on those. In other cases, one particular case that I remember, I was arguing, Judge, this case has to be dismissed because it's too old. It's because by the time you go try and locate witnesses to a crime that happened 12, 13, 14 years ago, witnesses have disappeared. Those people no longer, if they lived on that block, they're gone. If they did even bother to tell the police, like somebody who actually called the police the day of the crime, and the other witnesses who told the police what they saw, and somehow those statements wound up being lost and weren't included in the discovery that was turned over. Years later, how do you track down those folks? Even if they gave you the real name and the real date of birth, and you can try and go and have your PI go and search these folks out, their memories are not as sharp 10, 20 years later as it was when the crime originally occurred. So, of course, there should be at some point in time a statute, something that says You had a chance to bring this long time ago. You didn't bring it then. You've waived your opportunity to bring it, get out of the court, go away. But there are, just like everything else in the law, there are exceptions. There are reasons to go one way or the other. So I wanted to make sure I answered Jerry's question. 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Ms. Leona. Good morning, Ms. Leona. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. What's on your mind today?
Well, I believe that Trump got his just due by being convicted, but the people that follow him, they don't care what he does or what he says, because he is doing and saying what they want to say. And I believe that I think about Justice Thomas and Anita Hill. She didn't get justice, and I think it's two set of laws for poor people, black people, and I would like to know the makeup of the jury that convicted Trump, as well as Anita Hill's jury. So if the people don't get out and vote.
Well, hold on a second. Let me just clear something up. Anita Hill was not, well, I know that this might not make sense, but she got her day in court because she had an opportunity to tell her story. In November of 1991, she told in complete detail, over and over and over again, what her life was like and how Clarence Thomas made her feel, and the pressure that was put on her while they each worked at the EEOC. She told her story. She got her day in court. Now, if in fact, when you say she didn't receive justice, if in fact they would have voted to not confirm Justice Thomas based on her testimony and then all of those other cast of characters that testified right after she did, then I don't know that I mean, you know, would that have been justice to Clarence Thomas? Would that have been justice to the rest of the world or not? She had a day. She got all that our country requires is notice and an opportunity to be heard. She had an opportunity to be heard. She told her story in complete detail, wound up being cross-examined for it over and over and over again. Everybody treated her as if she was a liar. But she did have her day in court. Did they believe her? Who knows? There's still now, as you can tell, 30 years later, plenty of people that feel like she told the truth and everybody should have listened and believed her. But the truth is they listened to her. She had her day in court. It just, things didn't go the way that she wanted. Nobody said no to Clarence Thomas because of her testimony. The same way that, you know, just a few years ago, a young lady came in and testified that she got raped by an actual person that went on to become a judge, and now he also was confirmed. He's on the court now, even though there was plenty of witnesses who the FBI knew about, and they said, you know what, we're not going to tell the rest of the public about these people. We think that they're all liars. So she had her opportunity, and now, and she has had to go and spend the last 30 years with everybody weighing their opinion on whether they think she told the truth or whether they think she lied. So Anita Hill got her day, and you know, she unfortunately has had to deal with that scourge. And there are a lot of people that said, oh no, look how they treated her based on what she said. I'm never going out and tell my story. So the question is now, the difference between Anita Hill testifying in front of the Senate and this young lady who received a $5 million verdict yesterday, do you think it helps? Should women not be afraid of being cross-examined? Should they be bold and aggressive and say, I'm going to go tell what happened because it happened?
I think they should be bold and aggressive and report it. I'm surprised after these many years that the jury voted in her favor. Like you say, over the years, people's minds go that they don't remember things. So she was lucky. And then, too, Trump didn't keep his mouth closed like his lawyer said. Maybe if he hadn't said certain things, maybe it would have went in his favor. But it's not going to change him. It's not going to change the people that follow him because he's doing and saying what some of them don't have the nerve to do. The place is taken out.
Thanks for calling and for holding, Ms. Leota. You have a great day. Let's talk to Sharon. I don't know whether it's Sharon or Sharon.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Pretty good. What's on your mind?
I wanted to say I'm somewhat shocked and amazed at Jerry's comment. He usually calls the different shows showing compassion and understanding for everything. I guess his Republican side come out on him this morning. And
But is that Republican side or is that the side that, come on now, tell the truth. This is the one thing that you need to know. Now that's the thing. That might be I don't know that it's racist or Republican, but male chauvinist, yeah, a little bit. I mean, the saying that the woman lied just so that she can have some fame, and that she subjected herself to not just, come on, women testify and they fear testifying in courtrooms all over the country every day. But the truth is, the only people that are going to hear their story are the few individuals that will be sitting in that courtroom. There's usually not press cameras there. It's not a national story. It's not going to be played on every news. Everybody's not going to sum up what you said on news reports every evening for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. So, yeah, I understand that somebody might hesitate a little bit, but you can convince them, tell the story, you'll be strong, you won't have to be punished for it. E. Jean Carroll told this story, and she knew when she told this story that it was going to wind up being if Donald Trump is the defendant. So the story is going to be covered far and wide on every single news outlet, and she was bold enough to go tell the story anyway. There are plenty of people out there that have the opinion that Jerry had, which is, I don't believe her simply because I think that, Donald Trump's famous, so that's why she's testifying against him, is because she wants to have a moment of fame. I'm every single day that I've done this show for the last 7 years, there's a reason you have to understand that people don't all think alike, and there's a wide spectrum of how people honestly believe. That's how that man believes. He believes that the only reason that she told that story was not because it happened, but because she wanted her 15 minutes of fame.
Yes, I don't believe that either, but I feel that a person who has went through that trauma of being sexually assaulted, whatever, they can decide how they want to proceed and do things. I can't say anything because I have not been sexually assaulted. So I don't know really the feeling.
And I hope that you never are. So I understand that, but the truth is, everybody who has ever had that experience before needs to, they need a little bit of compassion from folks like you. So for everybody that's got Jerry's opinion, they need to be outweighed by people like you. Thanks for calling this morning. Have a great day.
Thank you.
313-778-7600. Let's talk to Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
What's on your mind?
Hey, listen, man, I think me myself, we missing the whole point, man. Look at Donald Trump. He has all these cases, man, against him. He's been indicted. He has this rape case. He has another rape case, if I'm not mistaken. What does that say about this country, man, as a whole? We are allowing a person like him to have all this baggage, trash behind it, and then he's able to still run for president. I mean, is it me or,
it's not just you, Daniel. It's not just you. It is not just you. There are millions of Americans that are saying exactly what you're saying, and they think exactly what you're thinking. It says that clearly we've got a problem and we've got to figure out how to fix it. Thanks for calling. I got to go to break. 313-778-7600. It's the last break of the morning. We'll be right back.
Attention. Do you owe back taxes, fines, and penalties to the IRS? The IRS now offers new relief options for taxpayers affected by COVID-19, but you can't go it alone. Call Tax Solutions now. Our team of former IRS agents and tax professionals can get you the best deal. We know the COVID-19 rules. Call us and never speak to the IRS again.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
The virus has caused the IRS to take extensive action to help taxpayers. So if you owe $10,000 or more, this is the best time in years to settle your tax debt.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
Remember, the IRS will not give up until you pay. Call 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. WADL gets a facelift and is now My 38 Detroit. Along with a facelift comes new programming. On Mondays at 8 p.m., catch a 2-hour block of Law & Order SVU. Tuesdays, Chicago Fire. Wednesdays, Dateline. More Dateline and Chicago PD on Thursdays and on Fridays. You'll get more Chicago PD to start your weekend. We'll still have some of your favorite shows like Mom, Blackish, and Friends. Just adding more for you to enjoy on My 38. The Word Network has been broadcasting inspirational messages around the world since the year 2000, and we keep getting bigger and better and more innovative. Seen all around the world, we bring you the best teaching, impartation, singing, and inspiration. If you want original programming, we have that too. The Word Network is your exclusive source for all things inspiration, and we can be found on every device imaginable. If you want to be uplifted and inspired, you need the Word Network.
My 38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal on TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My 38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offer is for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact Devin C. for more information at 248-357-4566 or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads. Have you thought about advertising your business on our 9 10 a.m. Superstation? Our audience is bigger than ever, and your investment will be lower than ever. Find out how you can grow your business. Give us a call during business hours and ask for Henry, 248-357-4566. We will tell your story, and more folks than ever before will come to your door. 248-357-4566. Ask for Henry. The super audience at our 910 Superstation wants to hear about you. Call now.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, the Urban Conservative. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to David. Good morning, David. How are you?
Hey, good morning, brother. Thanks for taking the call. I'm gonna make it real quick, man. Your first call is Jerry. Was that the gentleman's name?
Jerry wasn't the first caller, but
Oh, well,
Tim was the first caller. Tim is a very loyal Donald Trump supporter, and he's going to remain a member of the cult. Jerry was a different caller. Go ahead.
Tim's a clown, but anyway, when the guy said something about if it was the woman's gardener that did that to her, she once said, "Look, man, I'm not a woman, but rape is a rape, bro. I don't care if you get raped 10 years ago or yesterday. I know some women say things that are not true, but being raped, man, that's a traumatic thing, man. And I'm a man, and you know, I can kind of understand where a lot of women come from, and they don't want to talk about it when it first happened, man. That's somebody entering your body, man, without your permission. That's devastating, bro. It got to be, and I'm a man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a man also, and I understand, and I agree. And honestly, let me tell you something. When I was practicing law, the one type of case I absolutely did not ever want to wind up doing was exactly what you just described. I didn't want to be that person to have to sit there and break the woman down and make her cry and stand and hit her with things that were inconsistent and that she might have said or done in the past. It's a horrible feeling. You know, it makes you feel like a monster to say, this is my job, this is what I got to do, so I got to go in here and rip into her. I know she's going to wind up crying. Listen, there were plenty of other times that I didn't mind ripping witnesses apart and making them cry and showing that they were liars. But in a case like that, it's like, no, I don't do it. So I learned from another lawyer who told me, he said, listen, when you get those cases, what you do, if this is a case that you normally would have said that I'll do the case and it's 20,000, tell the folks that it's going to be 60,000. Tell them that, say it with a straight face and see what happens. Problem is, sometimes you got to want, when they say, okay, I'm still going to pay you, like, oh, I got to go do this. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, brother.
Man, thank you for calling and staying on hold and waiting for the call, and we need you to call in more often.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go to New Tim. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Yes, good morning. I'm all right, and I'm doing the show as usual. I expect that from our Tim. Because Tim is a loyal Donald Trump supporter. You got two types of Donald Trump supporters. You got straight up loyal Donald Trump supporters who they're gonna stick with him through thick and thin. And then you got some independent Donald Trump thinkers. Supporters. They're gonna think about what Donald Trump has done, and they're more like independent. It might sway their opinion, and it might not. I was listening to several of your callers, and a man can't speak on a woman being raped. And that's one thing I learned years ago. Don't speak if a woman claimed that she was raped or a woman say she was raped, because that person might be their daughter who been keeping their hands for over 10, 15 years ago. So one shouldn't be quick to just jump on women because they claim that they've been raped 10, 15, 20 years ago, and they have not spoke up on it. So you got to be very cautious when you speak about that. Speak about that situation, because it's very sensitive. But getting back to Donald Trump supporters, you got ones who are going to stick with him no matter if they do. If Donald Trump raped their daughter, they still going to stick with Donald Trump. Tim just be throwing stuff out there. But hey, I give it to him. No matter what Donald Trump do, he's gonna ride with Donald Trump. And just because he's a millionaire or a so-called billionaire, that don't mean that you can get away with everything. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. Y'all got to know Donald Trump believes that. That's why he said after the verdict that he's shocked and he's disgusted, because in his world, in his mind, he should never wind up being held responsible for any of his actions. He does not believe that you're supposed to, at some point in time, pay for your crimes or pay for the wrong you've done. It's the same man who, yes, he's running for president again, who has said, listen, if I'm elected, and he says this at every one of his rallies, anybody that took part in the January 6th, the attack on the Capitol, who wound up being, who has been held responsible, who's been arrested, and they've been convicted in a federal court, he plans to pardon them the same way he pardoned those folks who were his loyal supporters in the past. He says, listen, forget the law, do whatever I want you to do, and I will wind up rewarding you for it. He said this before. So the real question now, at 6:53, and I run out of time in 2 minutes, if in fact y'all know that the folks who are Donald Trump supporters, who are loyal to him, are going to continue to follow him no matter what he does, what are you going to do about it? Is that going to inspire you enough to say, we need to make sure that this man never winds up in holding the office of president of the United States again? It's not going to be enough for you just to say it right now. It's not going to be enough for you to say, I can't believe that there are people out there that feel that way. It's not going to be enough for you just to say, I don't agree with those other people. You've actually got to take some sort of an active role. You've got to get up. You've got to get off the couch. You absolutely positively have to go vote. And so you've got to go and register to vote and take part in voting. But you got to take somebody else with you. You've got to wind up calling all of your family and friends. You've got to feel a sense of urgency to say exactly what Daniel just said. What the heck is going on? How can this man who has done all of these things wrong still be allowed to run for president? Why on earth is he there? What can we do to stop him? That's what you got to do. You can't just sit at home. I mean, I appreciate y'all for calling in the mornings and stuff, but just calling me and being upset about it is not enough. You physically actually have to do something about it, and it's going to require some action on your part. All right, I'm out of time. Next up is State Representative Jewel Jones. Either he or a member of the foundation will be here to bring you information and inspiration from 7 to 9 this morning, followed by, because it's Monday morning, today is Wednesday morning, Attorney Anthony Adams, who will be here to talk about politics, culture, and the community from 9 to 11. I will be back in front of this microphone bright and early at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Y'all, it's 60 degrees outside now. Today's high is going to be 70. Hope it's going to be bright and sunshiny like it was yesterday. Get out. Enjoy it. Have a great day. Stay safe. I'm looking forward to talking to each and every one of you tomorrow morning. Have a good day.